Hello, I'm Lorna, and welcome to the Natural Dog Training Academy.
And I'm Sonia. Welcome to our channel. So today we have decided to talk about what is competition in dogs, especially when you have two or more dogs in the household. So the first thing that can be great competition with dogs is food, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah.
So food is a very important resource for dogs. It's their survival, so very important to them. I went to a house once where two little dogs were fed side by side. I asked them about the feeding and I said, "Oh, can I see them feed side by side?" And the older dog was eating like this and looking frantically and I was, whoa, I was shocked. So I explained to the owner what was going on, that this little dog was really scared that she was going to come in and take her food. And so I said, you have to feed them separately. There's just no other way. It's really important because there's nothing worse than being there. If you put it into our perspective, you're eating your dinner, something you're really enjoying, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and takes it away. Isn't it, Laura? It's not nice.
Well, it's almost like eating your dinner and looking over your shoulder. And when you've got two dogs or more, but two dogs where one's older and eats slower, or it may not be an older dog. Often, I've been in situations with clients where age is immaterial. It's just one dog is a much steadier, slower eater, so they end up always looking over the shoulder because the other dog gobbles its food and then tries to come in and take the other dog's food. But you're right, it's far worse, Sonia, if it's an older dog. Yeah, because that's not going to help their digestion when they're having to eat so fast. Or you might find that they just give up eventually. Sometimes this is what happens. They just give up and walk away and let the other dog, and that means they're not getting the nutrition they need. So feeding two or more dogs is a situation you need to manage. That's what I would call it. And yeah, simple solution, Sonia. You feed them separately.
Yes.
It's it's not difficult. You just feed them separately so that the older dog can take its time and it doesn't feel it's got its pal just waiting to get in there and gobble its food.
Definitely. I mean, in a lot of situations, like the case with treats, especially treats that are going to last a while, like chew sticks and things, you get a lot of occasions where, one dog wants to take the other dog's treat. So they've got a treat. And that is them trying to assert themselves, isn't it? But sometimes that can then cause problems because, a fight might start or that dog just simply lets the other dog take.
Yeah, yeah.
Which,
And that treat situation can often develop into a form of resource guarding. And this is what we get called in for a lot, where if you have one dog, and just say, for instance, you've got a household with two dogs and they've got different personalities. So you give each dog a treat. So one of them is chewing away its treat, and then it just gets up and it goes over to the other dog and it just takes its treat. It does it. Now, depending on the personality of the other dog, that might not be an issue. But then what can often happen, because that dog is trying to exert, the one that's taking the other treat, is trying to exert its authority, isn't that right, Sonia? So what can often happen is that can develop into a situation where if it's not stopped, that dog then starts guarding. And we've had many situations where the dog is actually can have its paws round the treat, or even resource guarding doesn't have to be food, it can be just an item, but it's a play for authority in the household, and quite often the dog then guards what it has and growls at the owner, and that's a pretty unpleasant situation for any owner, and we get this a lot. So you really want to stop that before it happens. Wouldn't you agree, Sonia?
oh, definitely. I mean, you should be able to take things off your dogs because if they pick something up outside that they shouldn't have, you should be able to retrieve that back. But it's also important for your dog to eat in peace and
Yeah.
enjoy their treats in peace. I mean, the other form of competition, Lorna, is toys, isn't it?
Mm. Big
Yeah,
time. Big
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you give, you give the same toy to each dog, then you might get the other dog like the treat, trying to take that toy. Um, Playing tug with your dog, that's competition between you and your
Yeah.
because in the dog world, the leader always wins, don't they, Lorna? So,
Yeah.
if they're wanting to win, or two dogs playing tug together, I mean, it's a lovely game to play, but it is competition, and the throwing of the ball,
Yeah.
especially if you have a problem with your dogs, and little scraps or fights can start. The worst thing you can do is throw a ball and they're both running for the ball, and that's big competition, and
Hmm.
that's when fights then can start.
Hmm. Yeah. I always think, to go back to the tug, it depends on your dog entirely, but if you, the owner, is playing tug with your dog, and lots of owners like to do that, especially the men in the family. It's more common. But you have to be seen to be winning, because to the dog, there's always a winner. That's why dogs play tug together. So if you've got a very powerful dog where you kind of know you're not going to win, um, then you're probably better not starting it in the first place,
Mm.
because it does depend on a lot of other issues. But if you have if you have a bit of competition, if your dog's trying to compete, um, then you need to be winning that situation. So I suggest to lots of my clients, is it a big deal? If you can't win, just don't bother playing tug. There's loads of other games you can play. Um, I don't know whether you would agree with that, Sonia, but I think you're better not getting into that situation where it becomes a bit of a power play between the dog and the owner.
I think, yeah, definitely when if you've got a powerful dog, um,
Hmm.
and the worst thing you can do is be swinging it, around, because that can
Yeah.
cause issues. But again, I mean, when I play tug, you know, with my dogs, it will be a case of, if they're not letting go, then I use my leave command. So bringing a leave command in, because
Yes.
your dog should know leave, and
Yes.
teaching them that from a puppy is quite important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I just always remember when I got my very first dog, I was just a young teenager, and he was like a golden retriever border collie cross. And we used to play tug. I can remember it clearly. We used to play tug in the garden, but he would never let go, never. And it used to get to the stage where I'd be swinging him round, and his whole four paws were coming off the ground, and he was only holding on to that by his teeth. And when I think back on it now, not exactly an ideal scenario, and not something I would ever dream of doing. But of course, we don't really think about it. We don't realise. So you're right, Sonia. The leave command is quite an essential one to teach your dog as soon as you get it, so that if you do want to play, at least it knows to release it. And if you find that your dog doesn't want to release that, regardless of what you say, then I would suggest you don't play tug with them.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And another form of competition is owners and attention, isn't it, Lorna? I'll let you carry on with that one.
Well, goodness. We do tend to treat our dogs sometimes like little humans, which of course they're not. Um, and the dogs all lap it up. They love it because they could become, very good at training their owners. But yeah, if you have two dogs, so back to the two dog scenario, or more than two dogs, how often do you find that you call one of them and then the other one comes and it barges in and tries to get in front? So the one dog is making sure it's always getting more attention than the other dog. So again, a situation to learn to manage. You could possibly even try to get, if you have two dogs and you call them both, you just tell one to stay or wait. so that only the one you're calling. It's all about your leadership, isn't it, Sonia? It's about you being in control of that situation. And it's always important, but it's even more important when you've got more than one dog, that they both listen to you. But these are the indicators that perhaps one of them's not. And that attention situation is really important. And sometimes a dog even takes up a situation where it's protecting its owner and is lying right across its feet or down on the floor and won't let anybody else come in. These are all pointers that you perhaps need to look at changing the way you're handling your dog or changing your behavior towards your dog.
Definitely. I mean, how many situations have we been to, Lorna, where, there was one dog on the sofa next to the owner and the other dog comes up and then that one on the sofa goes for that dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
competition is rife with dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and you just need to look at the situation. Sometimes it doesn't matter, and two dogs or three dogs or five dogs get on
Mm-hmm.
really, really well. But sometimes it does matter.
Mm-hmm.
And when you've got situations like that, if you've got like issues with toys or with treats, then a lot of the time it's a case feed separately,
Yeah.
and even play separately
Mm-hmm.
if you need to. And it's good when you've got two dogs anyway or more to have that one-on-one time with
Yeah.
that dog, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's quite important.
Mm-hmm. I think you just have to be more aware when you've got more than one dog of situations that can arise. That's really probably the message we would want to put. I mean, many people have two dogs or three dogs or four dogs and get on absolutely fine with them. But it put it this way, if you've got more than one, then it can create an environment that things can escalate. So I just think the owners just need to be more aware of watching their dog's behaviour and seeing if anything is developing, and if it is, to try and nip it at the very early stage. And if you can't, then obviously look at getting some professional help, possibly if you need to.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, with competition, we go to lots of sibling rivalry, don't we, Lorna? And that's another dog chat that we'll do another time. But a lot of the time it's over the food or it's over
Hmm.
toys. So just be aware of the situation,
Yeah.
just manage the
Hmm.
situation. And you should have a nice, happy household.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be good. So really hope you've enjoyed this dog chat. There'll be many more to come. Do look at our website. We have a couple of courses available now, which is walking and recall, all without the need for treats. And we have more courses coming soon. So thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.